Hi everybody, I want to take a minute to talk to you about these. Okay, this is an EMF meter. You used to see them on ghost hunters and whatever all the time. Thank you to Chrissy, by the way, for sending me this. If you ever go to a public paranormal investigation, they're waving them around. The theory is that they can detect ghosts. Whether they do or not, I don't know, to be honest. I've not really tried one. I don't know what their reasoning is, why they assume it would pick up ghosts. Hopefully they're just going into it with, thinking, well, we're on a budget, let's just bring as much equipment as we can and measure as much as we can. You can buy things relatively cheaply to measure temperature, humidity, atmospheric pressure, EMF, and hopefully they're just throwing everything at it and, not knowing if it'll work, but just, other than that, I mean, maybe someone just said, well, I reckon ghosts give off electromagnetic fields, and there's no reason for that, but we can wave these things around. I don't know why. First thing I noticed, and you turn it on, it measures in Gauss. It really doesn't matter what it measures in, to be honest. If you have no idea, you might as well measure in potato chips. So I've had a little play with this thing, and I've come across a few things I want to share. And the first thing is, if I hold it up next to my camera, I'm reading 5.9 to 6 potato chips of electromagnetic whatever. And to put that in perspective, I've got an electric toothbrush here. And that's not quite as much. 3.5 I think it says. I don't know, it's backwards. So these people are, they've got a camera in one hand and one of these in another. Perhaps it's a good idea to not have your cameraman use these, to give them to someone else. And of course you want to document what the reading is, which again is probably quite hard at night. They don't seem to light up. Maybe night vision, I don't know. Another thing to be aware of is when you first turn them on, there's a big spike. Let me show that again. Okay, that's probably not a problem if you just, you've got it switched on already and you're doing your thing, but if the battery becomes disconnected for a split second, if the connection isn't very good, then you're going to get these big spikes. I mean, with this you've got a 9-volt battery and it's clipped in. Sometimes these work loose, so they're pretty cheap to replace, but this one seems okay. If you have like AAA batteries or AA batteries, they can be quite problematic. They do jiggle around and you will get little interruptions which will cause these spikes, so maybe make sure, get in there and bend the terminals so they contact the battery better. Another thing, bearing in mind what I just said, I mean, this one, even though the battery seems connected fine, if you move it suddenly, you get a reading. I don't know if you saw that, but any sudden movement, you seem to get a reading, so yeah. So there's something else to be aware of. Something else to take note of, obviously, is the wiring in the house. The wires themselves, I know there's a wire that comes down inside this wall, and I don't know if you can see it, but it's not really reading anything as long as there's nothing drawing power. So that's jumped right up, and you can read it from, surprisingly, not that far away. So yeah, electrical cables give off an electromagnetic field, an EMF, and that's what these pick up. So if you're going to investigate somewhere, obviously if you can, turn the power off. You might have to eat all the frozen food out of the freezer first so it doesn't go to waste. That's what I would do. Bear in mind though that even if you turn the power off, where the cables enter the property before they reach the fuse box, it's still going to be live. Now, if you remember back to your science lessons from school, that's the one with the scorch marks on the table and the classroom stinks of burning wood. Then you know that if you coil the wire, then this effect is greatly increased. You find coiled wires in like loudspeakers and transformers. This is a transformer. What they basically do is convert electricity into an electromagnetic field and then back into electricity, so they give off a strong electromagnetic field, and you can find them in pretty much every appliance and piece of electrical equipment in the house. Fluorescent lights always have a transformer in them. There's quite a big one. It's usually right in the middle. If I hold this end, we get 3.2 in the middle, 57, 58, and then back over that end, 7. So again, there's something else to be aware of. The field extends, let's see how far it extends. It's got 22, 21, 20, 17, 15, 4, 1.8. I mean, it's diminished, it's gone to almost nothing within 2 feet, so I don't know whether that's really going to impact anything. I'm going to try the same thing with my microwave. It's reading 90, 60, whatever. And you notice with this, the field seems to extend quite a bit further away. Just look at 4.2. I don't know if you can read this. It's at 1 milligauss, the 1 potato chip, sorry. So that extends quite away from the microwave. Turn this off. But again, I mean, you can hear that, and unless someone was the other side of the wall, maybe if there was a property next door and they were using the microwave, I don't really think that would influence your findings that much. This is my freezer. By the way, this is what's making that strange breathing noise that people keep hearing in some of my videos. The compressor and all that is usually at the bottom. Here it is. So we're reading 13, and again, it doesn't extend very far away. It's dropped almost to nothing. We're in 2 feet again, say. Also, there's mobile phones. I mean, everybody carries a mobile phone, and you don't have to be making a phone call for it to be sending a signal. They do it every so often to keep track of where the nearest transmitters are and what have you. But I think everybody who uses one of these things, they should spend quite a while playing with it, experiment, just measure stuff all the time. The thing is, I really don't see, no matter how much time you spend using one of them and how much you know about electromagnetic fields, you can't ever say that any reading you pick up, you know, is paranormal. I mean, there's always going to be stuff. I mean, you can have power lines under the ground, and they don't even have to be live. Well, they don't have to be actually carrying power to anywhere for you to get a reading off them. I mean, there's natural sources as well. Like I said, the device itself is prone to little malfunctions. If you just shake it, you get a strange reading. So, I mean, there's evidence for the paranormal. I don't know, I think you'd have to have something else. You know, if these spikes always coincided with something, then maybe, you know, the two would support each other. But by itself, I mean, an EMF reading, it means nothing. I mean, it just means that there is an EMF field there. As we've seen, just, you know, everything gives off electromagnetic fields. I mean, literally everything, probably, I don't know. So I probably will try one if I do an investigation or anything. I always find it really strange when you watch these paranormal shows and they get a reading, and then they debunk it by having a quick look around for obvious wires, and if they're not standing right next to a boiling kettle or something, then instantly it becomes paranormal. I mean, no such thing as you know, you get strange readings off these things all the time. I suppose that's probably why they're so popular with some of these groups. I don't know. I'll try it. It is the only way to... Oh, this video is gonna suck so hard.